On the line with us this morning, Pastor Bua. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Buddy. Good morning to the listeners at home. It's always great to be back, and we are grateful to our Father for this beautiful day that He has given us.
We're talking about life in abundance, or abundant life, if I'm not mistaken. What's the word saying about it, and what can we learn from you this morning?
Whatever way you want to put it, you can say life in abundance, abundant life, whatever you want to call it. But today we are talking about the meaning to that life in abundance. We are talking about what the Lord is saying to us, that as Christians, as children of God, as believers, He promises us that we'll have life in abundance, because that is what He came for, to give us this life in abundance. And let us read the word from John chapter 10 and verse 10, that we get to understand exactly what He says in His word. He says, the thief does not come except to steal. The thief does not come except to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly, in abundance. That is what He says, Gurwam, there in verse 10, that the thief, He first starts by telling us what the thief comes to do. He comes to steal, he comes to destroy, he comes to kill. But He came, and He has come that we may have life, and that life we may have it more abundantly. Now, this morning we want to understand, what does He mean by that? For He does not only mean that we will have the riches, Budwam. He does not only mean that we will be wealthy. He does not mean that we will not have challenges. He does not mean that we will not be attacked by the enemy. He does not mean that everything is going to be smooth sailing every single day. Because if we are reminded of what He says in His word, He says that you must understand that in this world you will have tribulation. You will have tribulation in this world, but in me you will have peace. So what does that mean to us? It means if we remain in Him. And how do we remain in Him? Remaining in the Spirit, living in the Spirit, walking by the Spirit, so that we can understand that He is our good shepherd. And Him being our good shepherd, His job is to guide us to this abundant life. His job is to give us love and show us love, and where we can get this love and how we can give this love. His job as our good shepherd is to give us joy, and that we may have joy in Him and be joyful all the time, and have peace and safety, and have provision of all those material things that we need, have Budwam freedom, wisdom, and the fullness of God. So we need to understand that it is not just the riches, it is not just the wealth. There's so much that comes with that life in abundance. I don't know if you get me.
I got you loud and clear there. That's Pastor Sipakazibu talking about life in abundance. I've come that they might have life and have it more abundantly. Do you know that's the scripture that I got the name of my daughter from? My daughter's name is Zoe. It means abundant life in Greek. So
wow.
Zoe. So that's the scripture that I got there. So I prayed about the names of all my children, and yes, I got that one, an abundant life. So every time I read about that, John 10:10, I remember. Or as mentioned my daughter's name, I remember the abundant life that He came so that we can have. Well, we're talking about abundant life, or life abundantly, in abundance, with Pastor Sipokazibu, and of course he's sharing with us, trying to explain to us what that means. Does that mean having money? Does that mean having cars and whatever? Because there are so many different views and different interpretation and understanding of what wealth and riches are. So like you say now, many people think that it's all about you having your balance, in positives, and having a lot of money and having a lot of assets and stuff like that. But there's more to life than just that. The reason being, there are people who have it, who have what you aspire to have, but they don't have what you have.
Exactly. There are people who have money, but who don't have peace. There are people who have money who don't have joy at all. There are people who have money who do not have the freedom that we have. because of how they got that money. There are people who have money, but they do not have love in their families. You know, you find a wife and a husband who are very rich, but they don't love each other. They don't respect each other. Now you want to look at their riches and think that their life is complete because of what they have and what they own, but that's not what there is to life. Jesus is saying to us, I came that you may have life and have it more abundantly, that you may be satisfied with the life that I am giving you, that I have given you. What does that mean? It takes us back to when the Lord spoke to Moses when he was telling him to go and release the people of Israel from their slavery. And he said when he spoke, I am taking them into their own fertile land and precious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, a land where there are Canaanites, there are Hittites, there are Amorites, there are Perizzites, there are Hebrizites and Jebusites. But what he also said, all the nations that were there, he was going to move them out of the way so that what? They could live in safety, because he understands that they cannot have all this goodness that is the land has to offer there. When these nations are there, they needed to have safety, they needed to live in peace, they needed to have love, they needed to have joy, they needed to have wisdom, so that they understand how to take care of the things that God had blessed them with. But that does not only end there. They needed to be obedient to God. So we don't only look at the land that is flowing with milk and honey that God is promising us. We must also be reminded that in order for us to enjoy the goodness of God and whatever it is that he has to offer us as his children, we need to obey his voice. And we can only enjoy all of that when we obey him. For he says, my children, they know my voice. My sheep, they know my voice. And they will not listen to any other voice. For any other voice will destroy them. Any other voice will deceive them. Any other voice will not take them where I am willing to take them. So we need to be obedient enough to hear his voice, that we may take guidance, that we may know where to go, how to go, and how far to go and take things in this world, so that we do not stumble and fall and be deceived by the enemy, or listen to the lies of the enemy that come promising us all great things only to destroy us. Good one.
Pastor Sibukazibua on AM 657, as you talk about the things that others have that we actually wish to have, and neglecting what we have, and not knowing that there are people that actually envy us, the joy that we have, the peace that we have, and the sleep that we have, because they are going through a lot. There's certain things that we don't even know what they are going through there. And as I listen to you right now, it's a matter of knowing and understanding what we really have, and appreciating and being content with what we have, before we can even ask for, the Most High to add on what we already have, until we acknowledge what we have, the peace that we have, because peace is priceless. Being able to sleep at night, it's a priceless thing. And somebody once said, I was listening to him preaching about people that sleep on these expensive mattresses and beds, and yet they can't sleep. And here we've got people that are sleeping in this debate, but they sleep peacefully. Yes, high pendulum mall, you can hear it from afar, but they're sleeping nicely. And then sometimes where I am, sometimes I can't sleep at night, and the people in where I sleep, I can hear them snoring. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So then we realize, it's here and then that we realize how important the sleep is and how valuable it is. Instead of you looking for things that you don't have, and on the other hand, neglecting the things that you already have. I think people need to be made aware of that.
Yes, but definitely. I think it goes back to always being thankful for what we have and never taking anything for granted, knowing that what we have is a gift from God. Even the life, it starts with life itself, being able to wake up in the morning and seeing a new day, that is a gift. And we need to be thankful every single morning we get up and say, Father, you've given us another day. We thank you and we appreciate that. We are able to breathe on our own. We are thankful for that. That is part of the life in abundance, because everything starts with life. Everything starts with you being able to breathe on your own, you being able to get off your bed. Now, if we can take those things and just look how special it is to have those things, and if we don't understand what we are talking about this morning, go visit people in hospital. Just go and take a walk in the hospital and see how many people are struggling for their lives, trying to save their lives. They have money in the bank, but that money is not doing any good for them. It is not giving them life. It is not giving them peace. It is not giving them any joy. So the fact that you have life, you can breathe on your own, you have peace, you are able to sleep at night, you are able to have people that you sit with in your family, you are able to laugh even at small things. That is something to be thankful for. You can say that I am living life in abundance because I have love, I have joy, I have peace, I have safety. I have the guidance of God and wisdom and knowledge and understanding that takes me to the next day and the next move and wherever it is I need to be. I should be thankful. I should be grateful for all the fullness of God that is taking care of me. So that is what we need to teach people, but not money and material things and the cars and the houses and the big houses.
But that's not to say those things are not important. We need them, but it is not the be all and the end all of life. Shouldn't be chasing after such things.
We should not be chasing after such things, and also, but we should not measure whether or not God is present in our lives by the presence or the absence of those things.
And the measure of being blessed, the blessings, we measure it by how much we have or how many of those things we have. Some people think they are blessed now because they've got cars, and some people think they're not blessed because they don't have cars. How do you clarify that? How can you maybe help people to understand that?
But we need to understand that the blessings of God are not material things only. The blessings of God are not measured by what you own and what you do not own. We have just said now, when you have peace, you are able to sleep at night. That is a blessing. People who are driving these cars, you do not know how they got those cars. Some people had to step on people's toes to get those cars in the workplace, for them to get promotions, for them to get extra money. You don't know how they are making that money. So you cannot measure whether or not a person is blessed or not because of what they own. The Lord does not promise us that the only time we will be blessed is by when we own certain things in this world. You can look at Elijah. Elijah was a servant of God who feared the Lord, but there was a time where he did not have a place to stay. There was a time he did not have food. There was a time he had to go to that woman. When the Lord said, go to that woman, I've instructed someone to take care of you and provide for you. Somebody who did not even have enough at that moment. But Elijah, does that mean he was not blessed? He was blessed. He was loved by God. He's a man who feared God. But God, what he wants us to be reminded of is that there is a time for everything. If we can go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, it tells us exactly there is time for everything. There is a season for everything. It might be that sometimes you are in the wilderness season. You are still being molded. You are still being shaped for a certain blessing that God is preparing for you. Now, he says in his word clearly, do not despise the day of small beginnings. Do not look next door and think that you are less blessed because of what you do not have and what they have. It may be that it is their time. It may be that they managed to get what they have the wrong way. So do not envy them. Do not envy anybody. You must be content, and be content to a point that you are patient enough to say, Lord, I will wait on you, and my time, I know, will definitely come. And when it comes, I know that you make all things beautiful for their own time. And in my time, my things will come beautifully as ready for me. because you know what I need. You know who I am. You know what I'm about. You understand me more than I understand myself. So we need to learn to be patient, which is part of the fruit of the Spirit. But if we can be patient and be content, then we will not be frustrated by what other people have next door.
Learn to wait and to be content. I think those are two key words that can help us to actually enjoy this life here on earth. Because as long as you are in competition and you envy what others have, there is no way that you will be able to enjoy. I think there is another aspect that you haven't really mentioned,
Yes.
how this can also open doors to the attacks of the enemy, sicknesses,
Yes.
that come because of not being content, lack of contentment. You are envying other people's stuff, and you never ever get to be content with what you have. I'm sure there are many other things that these habits can open doors for, that can come and ruin our lives if you are not aware.
Yes, but you are so right. Like I said earlier on, Buddy, when we listen to his voice, we will then avoid listening to the voice of the enemy that tells us lies and gives us options on what we can do to get out of a situation that we are facing. Because the enemy always has options, and you will bring them on the table and say, how about you try this? How about you start betting? How about you start going to the casino? How about you start putting money there? And you end up losing so much money because of your lack of patience, because you want money now and you want it now. You don't care how you get it. Now, if you have the guidance of God, you are patient enough to say, I know he has given me life in abundance, but I'm not going to take things into my own hands, because when I take things into my own hands, I will stumble and fall. I will hurt myself. I will destroy myself. For he says, those who lack patience, those who lack patience and faith, they are headed for destruction, and they are only going to destroy their lives. Now we need to understand the importance of patience, faith, and hope, and trusting in the Lord, so that we can get to enjoy this life in abundance. It does not come at the same time for everyone. Your time and my time, Buddy, they are totally different. The plans of God, they are not the way we expect or think they are. He does not work like us. So we need to wait patiently for him to do things his own way, his own pace, so that when he gives us what we need, we are all satisfied and we are all happy and excited with what he has given us, and we are able to go and boast about what he has done, so that everyone can get to see the power of God in our lives.
Pastor Sipoka Sibua, once again, thank you for availing yourself. And in closing, before you give us your contact details, what else can you say to the listener of Radio about this topic of abundant life?
But what I would say is that the Lord is clear in his word that he has given us everything in abundance. He says, I am the one who answers your prayers. I am the one who cares for you. That is Hosea chapter 14. And he says, I am like a tree that is always green. All your fruit comes from me. So do not go anywhere else looking for the fruit that you can only get from him. Understand that he is your provider. Understand that he is the way maker. Understand that he is a promise keeper. He will not disappoint you. He will not let you down. He will not allow you to be tested more than you can manage, for he knows your strength. Do not listen to the voice of the enemy. Listen to his voice, for his voice will guide you to your destiny. His voice will guide you to what you need. Every single day, he has something prepared for you. Look out for that voice that will guide you to what he has prepared for that day for you, that you will take full advantage of it and live the life in abundance that he has prepared for you, without any fear, without any worry, knowing that your life is in the right hand, the hand of God, your Father. That is what I would love to say, Budwam, this morning as we end and peacefully thanking him for this beautiful day that he has given us.
And your contact details?
My contact details, Buddy, is 072-411-0203, and I'll repeat it again, 072-411-0203, and I am available on Facebook and YouTube as Sipoka Sibua, Buwa is my surname. And thank you so much, but it's always a pleasure and lovely to be here. Always lovely to be here from the listeners. And may you stay blessed and keep on growing and keep on remaining in the light of God, that you may get to enjoy this life in abundance, Budwa.
Ndibulela kakhulu uThixo akusikelele.
Ndiyabulela nam bhuti. Enkosi.